Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Earlier this summer I was cycling through the Cambridgeshire countryside on one of my evening training rides. I'd just left a meeting here at school about introducing further wellbeing initiatives, so the thoughts of mindfulness, digital detox and Kevin's perfectly cooked healthy lunches were high in the mind. The sun was out, the roads were quiet and the gentle rolling countryside was beautiful. What a glorious hour or so, and eyes still on the road, I promise. My mind began to wander. I still hadn't written a speech for speech day. And I don't know about you, but speech writing takes time. It can often be fun, but I found in my 9 years here that occasionally I struggle to think of something different to say. It's not a good feeling. The thought occurred to me that today I might have to give a speech about giving a speech, a kind of meta speech about the agonies of it all. I'd already asked my grandson earlier that week for a joke. He simply said, "Why did the bald man draw rabbits on his head? Because from a distance they look like hares." I said, "How am I going to get that into my speech?" I decided not to ask my wife Jane for advice. Last year, after reading the first draft of my speech to her, I asked if I should put more fire into it. She replied that I should put more of the speech into the fire. Anyway, as I was coasting down Chapel Hill into Barrington with the evening sun on my back and the birds in full song around me, I felt alive, fully in the moment, with the worries of the day firmly behind me. And the theme of well-being suddenly made sense again. It's not the well which is the important bit, but the being. I stopped at the bottom of the hill and I sat for a while. As I looked over the fields of blossom, I realised today, speech day, is all about time. We have a unique opportunity at the end of the school year to stop time altogether and simply to be, to live in the present and be thankful for what we have right now. Our families, our friends, our location and our teachers and of course our school. For St Faith's, this is a special moment in time. We might not all be together today, but we can still stop, reflect and be thankful for being part of this great community. We can celebrate through this film the many wonderful achievements of our pupils this year. In these extraordinary times, we should be thankful too for our excellent staff team who've worked tirelessly over the past few months to deliver both an online education to your homes and a service for pupils here at school. Their efforts and those parents in support of our online learning have ensured that St Faith's pupils have enjoyed a successful year despite the unusual circumstances. The end of the academic year is a special moment in time for 3 long-standing members of staff who are retiring. Between them, they've served St Faith's for an incredible 67 years. Mr Hullier, our estate supervisor, joined in 1992. Mrs Waters, classics teacher, in 1998. And Mrs Verdestert, pre-prep teaching assistant, in 2003. We thank them sincerely for their outstanding work for St Faith's and wish them a long and happy retirement. We also say goodbye to the Lees and St Faith's Foundation chaplain, Reverend Mahari. We shall miss his captivating storytelling in assemblies and his kind, calm and caring influence on our community, and we wish him a happy and fulfilling retirement. For Sir Tony Brenton, this is the end of his 10th and final year as chairman of the Lees and St Faith's Foundation. The unfailing and generous support he's provided to St Faith's and me personally has been invaluable in the school's progress and development during his time as chairman. We are extremely grateful to him for his dedicated service to St Faith's and the foundation. For our pupil leavers, this moment marks both the end and the beginning. The end of your time at St Faith's as a pupil and the beginning of the next stage of your education. Speech Day is for you, therefore, more than just enjoying the moment. It's about both reflection and looking forward. Education in its literal sense means a drawing out, educare in Latin, to lead out. It implies that something is already born naturally inside us, which will develop in the present and serve us in the future. I trust that our leavers will be able to look back at their time here and feel that St Faith's has helped to draw the best out of them and prepare them well to serve others in the future. Today is also a special time, a day of reflection too for Jane and me. We joined the school at the same time as many of our today's Year 8 leavers, 9 years ago. And in a funny sort of way, it feels like we've, grown up together. Well, you've grown up. I've grown older. You've gained experience. I've lost my hair. I'll be drawing rabbits on my head soon. It only seems like yesterday since you bravely stepped on stage for the first time, your parents and teachers beaming with pride for the Foundation Nativity musical. Apologies to our leavers for what will be some an embarrassing photo. I just couldn't resist it. Although you've gone on to excel academically, it will be your all-round skills as a year group that you'll be most remembered for at St Faith's, as reflected in the 29 senior school scholarships achieved by our leavers this year. Music, drama, and of course the highlight of your time here for so many of you, sport. It's in sport that you've taken yourself and the school to new heights, being the first year group ever to have won national titles in boys and girls hockey. You've also embraced the sport for all philosophy and the many new sports that have been introduced during your time here. When I reflect on our 9 years together, I often remember the residential trips we shared and the fact that dancing seems to have been a common feature. Who can forget the salsa dancing session in Salamanca 2 years ago? It was great to see you throw yourselves into the spirit of the afternoon and just enjoy being in the moment. And who can forget Ewan's body dancing at Macacanya School last summer? Our South African friends were suitably impressed. So this year, when Jane and I arrived at the National Music Exhibition in Liverpool to join it with the music tour, we were not at all surprised to see many of you singing and dancing energetically in the disco booths. Great memories. Wonderful moments in time that we feel fortunate to have shared with you. I'm sorry you won't have a chance to party this evening as planned, but I'm sure the time will arrive when you can get together and perhaps even have a dance. I recognise too that this is a particularly poignant moment for many of our families who've had several children go through the school and their youngest is now leaving. Thank you for your loyalty and contribution to St Faith's. Today will, I hope, be more of a farewell than a goodbye, as I trust you and your children will stay in touch with the school through the active Old Fidelian network. You will always be welcome back. Finally, I'd like to congratulate the prize winners. Although you won't be able to receive your awards in person today, you should still enjoy this much-deserved recognition for your hard work, progress and achievements this year. To everyone, let us celebrate this wonderful community. Even in the most challenging of circumstances, this year our school has thrived. Staff have shown their individual and collective strength, parents have been hugely supportive, and most of all, pupils have shown great resilience and purpose. One thing is for sure, we won't forget 2020. This film not only highlights the strength of our community, but also serves as a permanent reminder for both our leavers and the school as a whole of this special moment in time. Thank you. In 1995, St Faith's changed from a boys' to a co-educational school. Over the past 25 years, the proportion of girls in the school has grown steadily, and this year reached approximately 50% for the first time. What a great moment in time, therefore, to hear from the very first girl who joined the school way back in the 90s. We are delighted to welcome back Alice Flanagan, business leader at Saatchi & Saatchi in London, as our Speech Day guest of honour this year. This iconic photo of Alice on her first day at St Faith's, at the tender age of 10, featured in the Cambridge Press at the time. Alice has kindly agreed to say a few words about her time at the school and help us celebrate this year's achievements.
Hi Year 8s, and hi everyone from the St Faith's family. I am truly honoured to join you for this year's end of year celebrations. I'm sorry it's not live and we can't meet in person and talk at lunch, but here we are. These are new times. So here's me in Year 8. This was my final day at St Faith's. I'm collecting a prize from Dame Stella Remington, the ex-head of MI6. It was a very special day for me, as I'm sure today is for you. The last day is ultra special. It's much more than a ceremony. It's a day when we compress and condense all our experiences here so that we can carry them forward to the future. I would like to share a few of my St Faith's experiences with you and show you where they have led me. As the headmaster says, I joined St Faith's in 1995 into Mrs. Hall's Year 6 class. It was a new time for St Faith's. The school had just invited girls to the reception year, with a handful of girls joining in the higher years. I was one of around 9 girls in 300, and for the first few months, I was the only one in my year. So it's fair to say that girls were definitely in the minority. Here is a picture of my first day. As you can see, my arrival took a few people by surprise. Mr. Dyson, the headmaster at the time, made it such that we girls were equals from day one. It sounds simple now when women's football and rugby are equal sports, but 25 years ago it was a little more unusual. The girls joined in all areas of school life straight away. There was full integration. The Year 6 boys even became newly skilled in touch rugby so that we could form a side. And Mr. Lloyd informed the local schools that there would now be female hockey players in the Colts D hockey team. I guess the only difference in the way I was treated as a girl was that I got my own room on residential trips. What has always been special about St Faith's is the energy of the school, an infectious and positive attitude in every part of school life. I could see that my brothers enjoyed it, and that's why I really wanted to join. I wanted to be a part of St Faith's. I was never disappointed. It was a great place to be. Before I joined the school, I had to take Latin lessons in the holidays so that I could catch up. In our family, it was my brothers who were the studious ones, so this came as a bit of a shock to me. But it was worth it, and I have St Faith's to thank for inspiring me in languages, which set me firmly on a path to becoming a linguist. I studied French, Spanish, and Latin at A-level at the Lees, and French and Spanish at UCL. Languages take you everywhere. I've since availed of every teaching exchange, trip, and backpacking adventure to Spanish-speaking countries I've come across. So I think I hedged my bets pretty well on pursuing Spanish. Now, there are 2 things for which I'm especially grateful to St Faith's. The first is a love of communication, and this is what took me to my career in advertising. I've worked at Saatchi & Saatchi for the last 7 years. Creative, communication, presentation, and organisation are fundamental to my job, where every day I bring together people and ideas. The second is that St Faith's developed my confidence to seize opportunities and to try everything. This is something I didn't realise at the time, but looking back, I can see how the school built up a trust so that you feel secure to reach forward. So Year 8s, I know that you've been a great team on your way through the school, and I have no doubt that St Faith's has given you all a strong belief in your unique talents and your unique skills, be it Spanish, engineering, hockey, drama, art or maths. So I urge you to throw your whole self into every opportunity, both as individuals and together as a group of friends. It's new times for you now, and I'm really excited as you leave St. Faith's and move to your next stage. But take St. Faith's with you. They'll take you everywhere for the future. I wish you the best of luck, and of course, especially to the girls. From one of the 3% of girls to the 47% of girls, take every opportunity and go for it. I'd now like to introduce the list of prize winners for years 1 to year 7, with years 8 being announced later in this film. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you in these slightly peculiar circumstances, some of you at home and some of you actually here in the school. And I want particularly to address myself to the stars of today's show, who are, of course, the Year 8s, the Leavers, who have survived years at St. Faith's, one hopes with some profit. And I'm sure that they will be feeling a certain amount of disappointment at the fact that their departure is rather low-key. I've done 9 St. Faith's speech days. They're wonderful occasions. And I sympathise with them that they're going out this way. And I think it's quite important to say to them that the circumstances are what they are, but this marks no diminution in the pride and confidence which we in the school community feel in them and their achievements and their prospects for the future. Let me let you into a small secret. I'm leaving too. I've been chairman of governors for the last 10 years. It's been a wonderful experience. Just walking through the school just now to come to do this talk, seeing the children on the playground and so on. My heart always rises when I walk into St. Faith's. And I, like you, the Leavers, am intent on looking back on my association with St. Faith's with pleasure and with pride, because as I have been linked to the school, I have watched it flourish and grow in every possible way. Nigel and his terrific team have taken it from what was already a very successful school to become Prep School of the Year, to become a pioneer in many ways in many areas of education. And I know it's invidious to pick out one, but I would point to the lead they have taken on engineering education in particular, which makes them, I think, not a national leader, but probably the national leader. As I cease my time as chairman, that is one of the things that I look back on with the most pleasure, not because I was directly instrumental in doing it. I was a cheerleader, and my successor as chairman, Tom Buchanan, I'm sure will continue to be a cheerleader. But the real credit, of course, belongs to Nigel and his team. I don't know how you feel about someone who once said, I know I know I owe a lot to my teachers and I intend to pay them back. But I'm sure that in a good way, you, the leavers, all feel like that. They have done a terrific job educating you, but not only educating you, the school is a community, helping you develop as people. And although at a normal school, at a normal speech day, we would all be able to applaud them, I'm sure that you'll go away with that applause, at least in your hearts, as you go on to whatever it is you're going to do next. I've worked in international affairs as a British diplomat for 40 years, and I have never seen a world as challenging and as uncertain as it is now. Someone once observed that every time you think you see light at the end of the tunnel, it's actually a train coming the other way. What with the pandemic, of course, what with Brexit, what with big international political difficulties and big international economic difficulties, this is as uncertain and, as I say, as challenging a world as I have ever seen. And it must be feeling slightly daunting as you move on to the next stage in your lives to be moving towards such a world. I am confident that you will deal effectively with those challenges and will rise to the reality that a challenging world, an uncertain world, is also a world rife with new opportunities. New things are happening, new ways to go, and those ways are ways that you will find and choose as a way not only of making your own successful lives, but of helping society going forward. St. Ignatius Loyola once said, "Give me a child at an impressionable age, and he is mine for life." You have been part of the St. Faith's community, the St. Faith's family, at an impressionable age. We view you as full members of that family. We look forward to your going forward confidently and successfully, but we very much hope as well that you will stay in touch.
Today I would like to share some of my memories of the 6 years I've been at St. Faith's. I joined in year 3, arriving from a small village school and feeling very small, standing on the checkered mat and an oversized blazer. I only knew 2 people going into my year, Phoebe Butterworth and Ed Staveley. However, I remember how friendly and welcoming all the children and teachers were. and also the wide range of subjects and activities that the school had to offer. There is something here for everyone. We were all encouraged by our teachers to try new things, even if they were outside our comfort zone. In music, I started playing the guitar, and in drama, I took part in several school plays. I wasn't very good at either, to be honest, but at least I gave them a go. I have also had the opportunity to go on many school trips. The Ardèche was a fantastic experience. We went in year 7 in the middle of a heat wave, with temperatures getting up to 40 degrees. Thankfully, we spent a lot of time near the water, and my lasting memory is capsizing endless times on the river with my kayak partner Ed. The ski trips to Mayrhofen were also one of the highlights of my time at St Faith's. They were so much fun, playing bed rugby, watching endless skiing videos and waiting for Mr North's numpty to be handed out every morning before skiing. As most people will know, sport has been the biggest part of my life here at St Faith's, and I've been very lucky to play in some very successful teams. However, none of this would have been possible without the fantastic sports staff. They pushed us very hard in training, challenging us all the time, but they made it so much fun. We were encouraged to play as a team, not as individuals, to always play the game in the right spirit, and above all, to enjoy it. These are important values that I will always remember. My highlights include 3 unbeaten rugby seasons and being national hockey champions at both under 11 and under 13. In both national wins, we had so many close games that went down to the wire. We weren't necessarily the most skillful team, however, we were coached so well and were never told to give up. Mr and Mrs Thompson's promise of a McDonald's if we won was also a massive incentive. I also could not wait for each rugby season to start because I love playing with many of my closest friends. The close games are always the best. The great thing about St Faith's is that everybody is given the opportunity to experience playing in a sports team, which enables them to meet new friends that they may not normally come across at school. I know the friendships I've made will last a lifetime. It is such a shame that coronavirus has meant that we have not been able to get back to school to enjoy our last term. However, from us all, I would like to thank all the staff for making our time at St Faith's such a rewarding and happy experience, which sets us up perfectly for the next stage of our lives.
I feel honoured to have been awarded the Flanagan Cup, and I'm delighted that Alice Flanagan is our guest speaker this year. I joined St Faith's in September 2013 in Year 3. I was so excited to be joining my older brother and sister at the school. When I arrived, as I walked into 3B, the nerves kicked in, and I didn't notice I was meant to shake Mrs Curran's hand. It was not a good start. I quickly settled in, and I am so very grateful for all the opportunities St Faith's has given me. Amongst other things, we have had Greek Day and Roman Day, engineering problems to solve for Dr. Hoyle, and any number of different models to make for science and humanities. We've built bridges, fired rockets, and made stunt kites in engineering. In science, my skeleton was missing a few vital parts, my car wheels didn't turn, and my ice cubes melted too quickly, but my fantasy island of sweets was delicious, and my volcano exploded to great effect. Mrs Price always encourages us to be as creative as possible, and made us believe we can do it no matter what. Mrs Switzer never fails to be supportive, and Mrs Critchley always encourages us to do our best, in class and on the pitches. On the sports field, we have been successful. In Year 7, we had the most incredible hockey season ever, eventually winning IAPS Nationals in Brighton. The experience was unbelievable. It started with horizontal rain, harsh competition, and a few teams who were carb loading with bananas and protein shakes from the start. Meanwhile, St Faith's were eating Haribos in the minibus. We didn't think we had a chance, but we were determined, and against the elements and the odds, we managed to win and were crowned national champions. An amazing day that I will never forget. Taking part in Madagascar was certainly another of my St Faith's highlights. One of the best bits was when Oscar Sangster walked on stage singing at the top of his voice and the audience roared with laughter. It was brilliant. St Faith's has given me the opportunity to travel to different places around the world. I've been lucky enough to go on the ski trip to Salamanca and to the Ardèche. For me, the ski trip was the best. With Mr North, it was sure to be great fun, but not without a few dramas. One year, the ski instructor managed to lose 2 of his pupils, plus the St Faith's teacher. Another time, our flights home were cancelled due to the drones at Gatwick. And last year, just as we were about to leave, we were all hit with a sick bug. One by one, we fell like dominoes. Miss Kennelly had no intention of spending Christmas isolated with us all in Austria, so she quietly ushered us all on the plane and breathed a huge sigh of relief when we landed safely back in Gatwick. The teachers at St Faith's have been incredible, and I'm extremely grateful. They're kind, caring and supportive, but also have a great sense of humour. In the maths room, Mrs Hall tells me to hold my horses, yet Mr Kite tells us to get our skates on when we are running late. And then there is Mr North in athletics. He tells us his granny can run faster. I've had a whale of a time at St Faith's. I made some fantastic friends. I will never forget my time here. It has been brilliant. Thank you.
Very best wishes to our leavers as they venture to pastures new. I wish you a happy, healthy and safe summer and look forward to seeing everyone back together as soon as possible. Take care and thank you.